All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, and Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters that's out there. Once is like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. I'm going to start with the scripture. It says, Ecclesiastes in the scriptures, 1 and 9. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. There's no new thing under the sun. I'm going to read it again. The thing that have been, what has been? Man. All right. Man has been. It is that which shall be done. So it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. So there's a such thing as called reincarnation, right? Re meaning back, carnation into the flesh, back in the flesh. But there's another part of the Lord so heavy that he resurrect old kingdoms and the concept and so forth. This is why, that's why I wanted to get Daniels. But this is why every so-called kingdom has very similar traits. All right. Because they follow the same protocol as the other kingdom. This is why, let me read on, it says, is there anything new? Sorry, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It have been already of old time, which was before us. So the thing that became, you have a thing, the main thing I'm focusing on, you got policies, all right? You got the money system, okay? The thought process of inflation, the thought process of debt, all these things are the same concept. So there's nothing that's really new. And it says there is no remembrance of former things, which that goes to us. We don't remember if he was here or not, because the Lord didn't want that. It's too much for anybody to bear. But there's similar traits that goes on. I have a video to show, and you'll see. This is a bad video, and it shows you the same concept, the same thing, and the same downfall. Neither shall there be any remembrance of the things that are to come with those that shall come after. So let me go. Do I have one more? Actually, I do have one more. Revelation, I'll start at 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Leopard represented Alexander the Greek, all right, which is, that beast represents Esau's kingdoms. It says, and his feet were like as the feet of a bear. Bear represents Russia, okay? Russia is the feet of anything is the end of something. And his mouth as the mouth of the lion, which goes into the British, right? And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So now it's the dragon, which when you go into Revelation, the 12th chapter, and in this chapter, that dragon is the Roman Empire. So how can the Roman Empire give them this great power? Because that's the same thing that they're following, is the same trait. And I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled, is that all the world wondered after the beast. So keep that in mind. So let me play this thing real quick. Bomb. And the video is called the Empire Collapse Pattern. All right, the Empire Collapse Pattern. I'm not gonna play all of it. There's a lot to intake, but I'm gonna play some of it and I'm gonna play the end of it. And it's all the same thing. There's nothing that is done that is new. There is nothing that is done that is out of this world. There's no escapability out of these things. It's a pattern.
West, not invasion, not revolution. There's a pattern that has destroyed every major empire in history. Not conquest, not invasion, not revolution. Economic collapse. Specifically, currency collapse. And it happens the exact same way every single time. Rome, the empire that ruled the known world for 5 centuries, collapsed when its currency became worthless. Spain, which controlled more gold and silver than any nation in history, went bankrupt repeatedly until its empire dissolved. Britain, which dominated global trade for 200 years, lost its empire within a decade after its currency collapsed. 4 times in recorded history, a dominant empire has followed this exact pattern. Military overextension.
And what is that called? In reality, they call it insanity. How can you think you're gonna get a different results if you do the same thing over and over again? That's why the Revelation says that the deadly wound was healed, right? And the world marveled, like, wait, this is the same thing that was done before. So he used Rome as the major point. Okay, Rome was that empire that ran the known world, and since it ran the known world, and it is a blueprint for everything, even though they got their blueprint from the Greeks. Okay, and there's a whole concept of democracy where it all boils down to it. So let me let it play a little bit. No.
Unsustainable spending, currency debasement or money printing, inflation, loss of confidence, collapse. And every time, the people in power believed they were different, that their empire was special, that the old rules didn't apply to them. They were wrong, every single time. And right now in 2025, the United States is following that exact same pattern, step by step, warning sign by warning sign. The only question is whether we're near the beginning, the middle, or the end. This is the story.
And here's a downer for you people that don't quite grasp it. We're at the end. This is the end of your world. That's why I had to go to Revelation, the 13th chapter. It tells you the feet was as a bear, because Russia is going to destroy Babylon the Great, which is going to completely destroy this whole entire system. This is why even, I don't know if he's going to say it here. Let me let it play a little bit.
Of how empires destroy themselves through their own currency. How it happened to Rome, Spain, and Britain. And why every warning sign says it's happening again. Let's start with Rome, the empire that dominated Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East for over 500 years. At its peak, Rome controlled 60 million people across 3 continents. Its military was unmatched. Its infrastructure was the most advanced on Earth. Its currency, the denarius, was trusted everywhere, from Britain to Egypt. The denarius was a silver coin introduced in 211 BC. It contained about 4.5 grams of pure silver. For centuries, it held its value because the Roman government maintained its purity. When you received a denarius, you knew exactly what you were getting. Pure silver, real value. This created trust. And trust allowed Rome to fund its expansion, pay its soldiers, and build its infrastructure. But empires are expensive. Every generation, Rome's borders expanded. Every expansion required more soldiers, more forts, more roads, more administration. And eventually, more money than Rome actually had. So they did what every empire does when it spends more than it earns. They debased the currency. Emperor Nero, ruling from 54 to...
Which is kind of ironic that he went to Nero, because Nero is back into power. Remember, Scripture says it the best. It said, the thing that has been has already been. So man has already been in this world, so they come back. So Nero is the end of this world. Literally. All right.
68 AD was the first to significantly reduce the silver content of the denarius.
And that's exactly what dollar was been decreasing. The dollar's been dying. He was going to explain everything. It's a good video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but he's going to explain everything. He's going to explain how the dollar decrease. He's going to explain how the dollar is in a position why it's in a position the way it is. He's going to the whole full 9 yards. That could be a separate video in itself. But I just that's the key point I wanted to bring out. Like, Nero was involved, and it started with him to decrease the denarius. So same thing with this guy. This is why he has he's owed us tariffs, which is killing the U.S. economy, and he wants to go back. He don't want to go back to the gold standard. The gold standard is stable coin. So now they want to bring, because this guy was saying the same thing. Either you let it die off. Is that all the empires that was in position of power end up dying off? So unless somebody brings into a new system, and that new system is the new world order. So this is all played. They knew exactly what they was doing. That's why they established the infrastructure so weak. All right, because it's like, you know what, we're gonna bring in our new world order anyway. It doesn't matter if the roads and so forth is not going to survive, because we're gonna start all over. All right, it's very ambitious, I must say. You let it play
He
off.
needed to fund his lavish lifestyle and expensive military campaigns, so he ordered the mints to reduce the silver content from 100% to 90%. That extra 10%, pure profit for the emperor. He could mint 11 coins with the silver that used to make
Hey,
10.
like Trump and his friends. With this second term, Trump making a lot of his friends, a lot of billionaires, more money. Shit, even during the pandemic, Jeff Bezos went from a millionaire to a billionaire. All right, but with Amazon. So he's making his friends a lot of money. Okay, this is what they see opportunity with this whole thing that's going on.
More coins in circulation, same amount of silver, that's inflation. But 90% silver was still substantial. The real destruction came later. By the time Emperor Caracalla ruled in 211 AD, the denarius was down to 50% silver, half real value, half base metal. By 265 AD, under Emperor Gallienus, it had fallen to just 5% silver. A coin that was once pure silver was now 95% worthless metal with a thin silver coating. Think about what
sounds familiar, right?
that means. If you were a Roman soldier in 265 AD receiving your pay in denarii, you were being paid in coins worth 1/20th of what soldiers earned 2 centuries earlier. The government told you nothing had changed. The coins still said denarius. They still had the emperor's face, but the purchasing power had collapsed. Prices exploded. What cost 1 denarius in 200 AD cost 50 denarii by 300 AD. Farmers stopped selling food for coins and demanded barter instead. Soldiers refused to fight unless paid in gold or goods. Tax collectors couldn't collect taxes because the currency was worthless. The entire economic system seized up. And here's the key. This wasn't caused by foreign invasion. Rome's borders were still defended. This wasn't caused by plague or natural disaster. This was self-inflicted. The Roman government destroyed its own currency to fund spending it couldn't afford. And when the currency died, the empire died with it. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire officially collapsed.
And that's what ended up happening. And that's history. And that's in the scriptures. All right. The west point of that empire collapsed. And only the east thrived. That's where the Holy Roman Empire took in place. That's when Jake was in power. That's what led to the Dark Ages, what they call the Dark Ages, when they Edomites themselves were not they wasn't making no money. I'm sorry. Slacking. I'm thinking about money. When they had no language or nothing, they was not in a position of power.
Military overextension.
So
the U.S. maintains nearly 800 military bases in over 70 countries. The defense budget is over $800 billion annually. Wars in Iraq and Afghanistan cost over $8 trillion. The empire is expensive, and it's being funded with debt and printed money. Just like Rome couldn't pay its legions in debased coins. Just like Spain couldn't fund its military after repeated defaults. Just like Britain couldn't maintain its empire after currency collapse. The United States is running out of time, so let's identify the pattern.
And the United States has ran out of time. All right, I can't make this. I'm trying to put this in my other. You know what? It is what it is. But the United States have ran out of time, and this is why they're doing the things that they have to institute a new system, and that new system is a new world order. All right, they had to collapse this current system, and then to bring in the new world order. But what they failed to understand when they decide to bring in this new world order is the end of them. Period. Habakkuk 2 and 6, I believe. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and taunt a proverb against him, say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. That thick clay is his debt, which is a Hebrew word, abatyat. Right here, wages of pledges, heavy debts. So America's right now, I believe, is 38 trillion. Let me look it up. I believe it's 38 trillion right now in debt. I'll make it long. I'm just gonna put this in a few channels. Um, that thing is a good look. The rise and fall of these debt systems. I wonder what I did that for. Oh, I gotta pay for this shit now? What the hell? Well, there it is. 38 trillion. Okay? 38 trillion. Far greater debt than Rome, far greater debt than Spain, far greater debt than Britain. All the major empires that he made mention of, America has outdid those things. So with that pattern, do you really think they're gonna succeed? They're not gonna succeed. All right, they're gonna have to pay back. That's what I wanted to bring this out. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and there shall be booties unto them, to who? The other nations who they robbed. Okay, because what has happened, how America got established, they robbed everybody, just like these other empires. But the collapse, yeah, is coming within, but it's a global collapse. And the guy was gonna break it down too. Hold up, before I go get that, let me get let me get this real quick. Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon have been the golden cup in the Lord's hand, and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Through what? Her policies, her fornication. Okay, what they call democracy. This thing that they call what you want to call it, capitalism, has gotten everybody to agree with the madness was going on. This is why everything is connected. Was it last Monday? They call it AWS. I believe it's Amazon. Amazon's essential, and everything that's associated with Amazon crashed. And they keep saying that everything's connected. So when a crash comes, everything's gonna fall apart. This is them restarting a new system. It says Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. That balm is what? Those stimulus packages to reboot these economies. All right. And no matter what they do, how much money they decide to put, it doesn't work because it's not backed up by anything. Okay. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies, which goes into our Revelations, the 18th chapter. Okay? Because part of that abatyat is not just financial debt, it's sinful debt. And this place has reached unto so knowing the fact that all these empires that had a common thing has had this all had a common fall. What makes America so different, so special? Nothing. Nothing America does that makes it so special that it would not be the same way as all these other empires. And America is just an extension of the Roman Empire anyway. Okay? I'm just gonna quote this one, but the statue that Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. It went from gold to silver to bronze and to iron. All right, iron mixed with clay, because the simple fact is it became weak through the process of time. Same thing as the money currency, and the same thing that everything else goes on. It's all weak. So what the Lord purposely did, allow Esau, the intelligent being that he is, to find these broken concepts and keep these concepts, and then try to make a new world out of these concepts. But it's not going to get you nowhere. Same thing that happened to the others. Right? Let me let it play off.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every empire that has collapsed economically followed the same sequence. Not similar.
But the difference between, he's going to say it, I'm not going to say it. Wait.
Stage 1, dominance. The empire is at its peak. Military strength, economic power, currency trust. Rome with the denarius, Spain with the dollar, Britain with the pound, America with the dollar. At this stage, the currency is backed by something real. Gold, silver, trust built over generations. The empire seems invincible. Stage 2, overextension. The empire expands beyond its means. More territory, more military commitments.
The scripture says how the hem of the earth have been cut asunder. And this is all under, it was ironic. The ironic part is that all that he's talking about, despite I spoke about the statue, but everything that he talked about, the four major empires he's talking about, is all ran by Edomites. That's what made it funny. All right, so they're a disaster walking around. All right, and that disaster that they are is that they always fail, they always lose. And this time, the difference between those empires, which was self-destructive, America is going to be completely annihilated from the planet Earth. All right, and this whole entire system is going to be broken into shivering pieces.
Promises to citizens. Rome expanded across 3 continents. Spain tried to control every ocean. Britain colonized a quarter of the world. America maintains bases on every continent. The costs become unsustainable. Stage 3, deficit spending. The empire spends more than it earns. At first, this is manageable. They borrow, they issue bonds, they promise to repay, but the deficits become structural, permanent. Rome needed to pay its legions. Spain needed to fund its wars. Britain needed to finance 2 world wars. America runs trillion-dollar deficits annually, even during growth. Stage 4, currency debasement. The empire can't borrow enough, can't tax enough, so they debase the currency. Rome reduced silver in the denarius. Spain flooded the market with silver, causing inflation. Britain abandoned gold and devalued the pound twice. America left gold in 1971 and has been printing ever since. Stage 5, inflation.
And what America has done has gotten people to believe in a false system. All right, that IOU, which people, all you fools out there die for. You do whatever it takes to get it, but come to find out it has truly no worth. All right, it has no worth. Now everybody is feeling it because of the thing of inflation. So this is a catastrophic event that's going to take place real soon.
More currency with the same amount of real goods means prices rise. Rome saw prices increase 50-fold. Spain experienced price inflation across Europe. Britain saw 25% inflation in the 1970s. America is experiencing inflation now, despite government claims it's transitory. Stage 6, loss of confidence. The domestic population and foreign nations lose trust in the currency. Roman soldiers demanded payment in gold, not denarii. Spanish creditors refused to lend after multiple defaults. The world shifted from pounds to dollars at Bretton Woods. Today, nations are shifting away from the dollar. Stage 7, collapse. The economic system fails. The currency becomes worthless or loses its dominance. The empire can't fund its military, can't maintain control. Rome,
which we're seeing that right now. They came to pay the military right now as I'm speaking because of the government shutdown. They came to feed their people because of the government shutdown. You see the pattern that's going on? All right, and their excuses comes with many, but is what are you calling it? Not demolition, but it is a demolition job that they're doing to the economy. That's what they're doing, and everybody's caught up in the rapture of it. So everybody's going to be affected by this.
Fell to Germanic tribes it could no longer pay to fight. Spain declined into irrelevance. Britain lost its empire within decades. In the US, that's the question we're living through right now. That's the pattern. 7 stages, repeated 4 times across 2,000 years. Different empires, different continents, different currencies, but the exact same sequence.
And that sequence is the downfall of the major empires. But this time, there's no comeback for this place. All right. Out of all the empires on the planet Earth, this place is going out with a hefty price, with a hefty destruction. I'm going to end it up. Matter of fact, let me finish it over here. It says, Habakkuk 2 and 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the cities, and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covenants an evil covenants to his house, that he may set it his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. And they have an escape route. This is why this is how you know they follow the trend. They followed what the other previous kingdoms have done, but when these devils think they're smart, they think like, oh, you know what? When this thing goes down, we are going to escape this. All right. They think they're going to escape this set destruction. And it's really the elites of that's causing all this. The people that's high up that want to establish this world order, they the ones that's going to think that they're going to escape that set judgment. That's what the scripture said. They're going to set their nest on high. Matter of fact, prove that. It says Amos 9 and 2. It says, though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of the caramel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent and shall bite them. So the Lord is going to check you in every avenue that you think you're going to escape. Let me read on. It says, though they go into captivity before their enemies, then let's go into something else. So they're going to try to escape, but they're not going to escape. All right. They're going to be the first crop of slaves. This whole financial hoodwink, like I stated, the definition of insanity is to do something over and over thinking you get a different result. And that's what the exact same thing. We got bread and circuses, keeping everybody distracted. All right. Even the leaders are keeping everybody distracted. Every time a subject comes about, there's something else. Now that everybody's focusing on November 1st and the food stamp, but now this guy's trying to get political points because I guess the next talking point is no taxes. So it's just distraction after distraction. Job 20 and yep. It says Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Meaning when he can accomplish his new world order, he's going to be in straits. He's going to be in a difficult position. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. So, which is Amal, which is talking about the laborers. Okay, the laborers are going to get their hands on you for you ripping them off. There's no jobs. Everybody trying to get a job, nigga, or tell those people to get a job. But guess what? This month may be the month of no EBT, which is November. December is going to probably be a month for you people that's working. Everybody's going to be in the same boat, and you're gonna take your anger towards these people. All right, and like the Roman Empire and all these other empires, the people are going to revolt. Okay, and it says because the powers that be, they know they expect people to revolt. This is the greatest fall in human history was about to happen. Once this economy goes down, this is the greatest fall, period. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he eateth. That is talking about those ICBM nuclear missiles. All right. This is how you know it's different from all the other. The cycle is broken. That cycle is going to be broken because the Lord is going to destroy this place. America is destined to be destroyed. And when they talk about the statue, it tells you that the stone that was cut out with our hands destroyed the feet of the statue. So this whole residence or residue of all these fell kingdoms, which Esau follows the pattern, the same fell pattern, all of that is done, which is going to usher in the new, which is a new world under Yahweh Shai. He shall flee from the iron weapon. I just read that because they're going to try to escape, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and come out of the body. The glittering sword cometh out of his gale. Terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places, and fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle, which is the whole entire household. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity. And part of the major iniquity that they're doing is they're robbing the people. They're literally robbing the people. And every avenue, some certain information is coming out about them and this great robbery, what they're doing. It says, and the earth shall rise up against him, which is red. So all people who's tired of this shit. This American dollar, once it goes, the whole entire system crashes. This new world order with it, which I forgot to, he said it, but I'm just gonna quote what he said. So unless they bring in a new system. So this new system that there's a desire to do, which they deliberately worldwide want to bring in this new system for full control, is their end point, which is Revelation 13:16 on down. I don't think everybody should know that by now. It says, the increase of his house shall depart, and his goods shall flow away in the day of his wrath. So all that gold, silver that they've been accumulating for all these years, they're about to lose all that power, all of it. They're going to have no say so. And it says, this is the portion of the wicked man from the Most High, and the heritage appointed unto him by the Most High. So with that being said, shalom to the elect and the nation of Israel. Shalom.